Northwest area of NAFAS, the National Association of Flower Arranging Societies. And if you're not a member, if you've no skill or you've got lots of skill, then join a flower club because it's incredible. Is that me?
No.
Oh, good. Right, and so what I've got for you today is lots and lots of techniques. This is my second of three demonstrations today. There is another one at 3 o'clock. Everything is going in the raffle. And so I very much like recycling and so on. This is actually a design I won a flower club the other day. I belong to 3 NAFAS clubs in the area, and a designer, Laura Leon, incredible designer, made this design, and I've kind of just changed the concept, but nonetheless it's still Laura Leon's design. And so actually you've got one of the UK World Champions designs here, as well as a gold Chelsea RHS Gold Award winner recently. That will be me. So what we've got is a piece of silver birch. Actually, sometimes some people can have a bit of an irritant, so please do be careful. Don't take this in the raffle if you are susceptible to that. Sometimes if I've got too much in the car, I can feel it. And basically, I've just got sticks that I've drilled into place. I've used some of the begins with M. It rambles all over the place. Bullenbeckia, that's the one, and some test tubes, and these are full of water. So these are just acrylic. So this you could decorate for Christmas. This could be anything. You could. I've just seen a life-size butterfly. Panicum, beautiful, beautiful grass. Some people grow it. It's very fashionable, on trend. Any kind of grass that you can grow is on trend and has been for some time. But look already how that's just changed. It's become more dynamic. And so, do you think we need some flowers in there? But can you see how the design is very narrow? And that's my intention. It's to kind of the concept. It's not to come outwards, it's to be quite a narrow, almost like a screen. And so a friend of mine went foraging. Well, it's actually, when you join a flower club or you become a flower ranger, you suddenly start walking the dog and noticing that beautiful cascading ivy or those beautiful hydrangeas in the park that are just waving at you. And so this doesn't really need to go in water. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to nestle this in between the stems. Because again, that kind of, it's always beautiful to use materials that are in the natural season. And this hawthorn is rather sharp. I have thinned it out a little bit. Again, this gives dimension to my design, and it's a beautiful way of making it very seasonal. Can you see again how it's evolving? It's taking your eye. So then, this is becoming less dominant, and actually you see this beautiful collection of flowers. And again, just a little bit of, what's this berry called? Actually, no. I think you might need new glasses there. It's a fruit berry. What's this called? I don't know. It's a strawberry. Do you know, I need to get some lunch. I really do. It's really prickly. You pick it somewhere and have pies. Blackberry. Goodness gracious. Oh, so have you had a good day so far? Have you spent up? Do you know, I walked through the gardens here this morning at 8 o'clock and I spent £60. I didn't even have any money on me. I owed him on the way out. I said, will you still be here at 6 o'clock? He went, yeah. I said, yeah, so will I. But even though this is just a random bramble, it's still a beautiful texture. And actually, who thinks that will survive? If that was kind of a few apples at the base, wouldn't that be beautiful for a table design? I'm going to spoil it now and really make it quite contemporary. So I've got some anthuriums. Anthuriums with the spade in the centre, which is quite unusual pink. But I thought we'd go with kind of with the pastel shades. So not going too short, but the beauty of using the anthurium is you want them to have them in different directions, so you can really appreciate the beauty. Can you see how the foliage that I've chosen kind of really mirrors the greens and the shades within the anthurium? These will last ages. Yes, and they are real. Who goes into a shop and goes, oh, is that real? It looks artificial. Because what you're doing, when the florist starts pulling faces and gets quite grumpy with you, is because the grease of your hand, even if it's clean, will actually destroy the pigment. And so they won't be able to sell it the day after. So next time, just ask rather than go, is it? So different heights, different directions. It really brings it together. You don't really need lots of flowers for these things. Or you could just go foraging in the garden, or the neighbour's garden when they're not there. But these are rather stunning. And the only thing is, when you've got so many test tubes, but the thing is, when you finish with this, don't just throw it away, because there's about 3 hours work in the assembly of this. My son rang up yesterday morning, he said, what are you doing? I said, I just need to get my drill out to make one of my designs, and I just need to get the wax pot and some recycled wax. And that's what flower arranging has come to these days. You need to be quite good with a drill and lots of other bits and bats. And so again, in contrast, now this is a kind of, the mini gerbers, aren't they beautiful? And just to kind of add a little bit of depth. And so I'm going to add a little bit of recession to these, so I'm going to have these quite short. Shorter still, because they're a little bit top heavy. So whoever's come on the bus today will probably win this. As I'm just popping these in. These flowers are not particularly thirsty flowers, but you do need to top these test tubes up really regular. And we want a nice contribution, a balance of colour. So we'll have this one going here. And so now just a little bit of a pop. Beautiful Naomi roses. So have we got any competitors in front of us? Anybody competing in the competitions? No? I must say they're absolutely fabulous. Well done to everybody. It's quite brave to compete. I think the children have done particularly well. They do make me smile. Can you see how the red has given it a really rich depth to it? You can now see the veins of the anthurium, can't you? Where before they were perhaps just a little bit shy. So by putting this horn thorn through there, it's also giving me a little bit of a frame. That's helping support the stems in their vessel. So you can use this over and over again. If you decide you want to change the colour, just take it outside, put some newspaper on the floor, and just spray it. Gold, silver, whatever you fancy for Christmas. And to finish off, I've just got some of the vinca, which is actually from my exhibit at the Chorley Flower Show. It's a golden variegated vinca. Now you tell me, which is the front? Is it that side or that side? That side's the front. They kind of lose you because your perspective sometimes. And this, again, it's a bit of a random colour scheme, but we can't always do things we like. But this will root, this will strike really easy. But I would put it in a pot. It's not as quite as invasive as the vinca major and the vinca minor. It can still be a little bit of a nuisance. And there was an incredible nursery in Southport actually, that put through this for me. Sorry, I nearly started singing then. Can you hear the band playing? So can you see how the lightness of the vinca is just kind of bringing it forward, almost creating a little bit of a cascade. Oh, let's do that. And so that's my first design for you. I don't actually know where it's going. Move that one. So who's going to go home now and put a tree down and get the drill out? It's great. When I do workshops, this is kind of, the cutting list that we send to the clubs before we do a workshop, and it's kind of, quite often these days, especially the more contemporary clubs, it does involve a drill, hammer, wires, pliers, jewellery snippers, and so the transition between the different crafts is quite incredible these days. So that's my first design. This design is a workshop that I did recently. A gentleman that's actually coming to the Northwest shortly to do a workshop with us, and he loves to recycle. This is all fabrics. These are actually curtains that he provided for the workshop, which I cut up and applied some heat, and it shrunk the fabric, which made it kind of lift. And so again, there's quite a few hours work here, but it's not really my thing, and so which is why the whole thing is going in the raffle today. And all these curves here, which gives it substance and its kind of integrity, is a heavy gauge wire, 2-point wire, and basically it's covered in wool. Well, some of it's wool, and some of it is actually this that's bound on, and then just kind of a little bit of wire added on afterwards. Hello. And so I am using floral foam in this one. I'm just thinking which way did I want. So there's a selection of ribbons, sisal, fabric going on there. And there's about 3 hours of work in this one. So give it away, don't just kind of, if you don't like it, somebody will. Some of the Polonium, isn't that incredible? Who's got this as a plant at home? No? It's been on the market. Actually, you tend to see these in Lidl. If you get this from the RHS Bridgewater, you're talking £25. When Lidl have them in, they're about 6. So I'd get them from there. But it's a beautiful fern. So it likes humidity. So really, everything in moderation. I can do a whole demonstration and not use floral foam, but actually, in our craft, in our industry, there are places for floral foam. It's all kind of in moderation. So can you see how now the frame has just kind of disappeared? So yeah, so this is probably, that's actually neither of them are very good for the bike foam, are they, really? But just look how I've layered that. So it's almost like a waterfall just cascading down. So it's your placement of materials. You don't already need a lot of materials. And then just as a contrast and a little bit of a pop is the beautiful poster, which I don't know the variety, just a girlfriend just popped these. In fact, Margaret, she's not listening. I arrived home yesterday and there was this bag of hostas. But they are beautiful. Who's got a garden with no slugs? All my slugs know where everything is. You've no slugs in your garden. Have you managed that? Coffee? What, you give him coffee or? And so just kind of creating a little bit of recession. So you can see how really the floral foam is now disappearing. And so again, just with some more trailing material, we've got some eucalyptus, which again is kind of the same hues, tones. So in this more traditional design, it's always conducive really to, well, I personally do foliage first to get my outline, especially if you're using delicate flowers. So this is actually giving it some volume, it's kind of going outwards. So you've got beautiful arching. So when you're cutting from your next door neighbour's garden or your own, you should always cut just what you need. I need to decide which is the front. We'll have that as the front. And so shall I put some flowers in? So I have just a little bit of a pop, which is kind of the greys to the pinks. Gives it a little bit of zahaf. This is quite an old-fashioned rose. It's been around for years. Look, you see how the petals, the sepals are just pulling back? That's an indicative of how mature the rose is. When these are all turned back, then there's probably only a few days life in it. But as you can see here, people call them the guard petals. And a lot of people take them off, but I just think it's part of the beauty of the rose, and so I would leave them on. Well, this is quite a traditional design, purely because all the stems are radiated from one point. Whereas on this one, there's lots and lots of points of origin where the flowers are merging. Oh, sorry, I've got tied up in the carpet. So I've actually got some buttons in there. Can you see them? You can buy those on a thread. I haven't actually done those myself. Ah, one more rose here. Isn't that just beautiful? You can tell me what this is. Anybody? No? If I pass one round, the smell might be able to tell you, give it away. This actually belongs to the fennel family. It's so pretty. You almost think it's a chrysanthemum. And it's one of those scents that you either like or not. It's a bit like bovril. So I'm here today representing NAFAS. And basically we have 40 clubs across the northwest. And so whether you like making tea, appreciate flowers or garden flowers, then there's something in a local club for you. You don't have to have any knowledge, just go and enjoy yourself. We tend to have a demonstrator every 4 weeks. Economy of material, if you just break that up, it just makes it go a little bit further. So do you like the smell? Is it nice or is it quite unpleasant? The cats love it. And then just to create a little bit of possession, just a few of the beautiful, my brain has gone completely frazzled. Where's the front? I think they're still looking for Alex. Shall we give him a shout? And so, So whether it's your curtains you're putting up, or your other half shirts that are getting a bit tatty around the collar. Can anybody relate to that? Do you know, I tried to do some clearing. My husband went away for a few days. He went to Wimbledon. So I took the opportunity of going through his wardrobe, getting rid of those shirts. Do you know, he knew. And so, yes, I don't think he'll be going away again. And so just to finish off, one more piece, and the thing is, when you cover the wire, and this could be any kind of cable wire that you stripped off, and then just covered, it's just a fabulous way of creating different forms and textures. So there we go, quite a traditional design. There we go. You had a good day? Are you spent up? Have you got a load of plants you don't know what to do with? Good. I'm here today, I'm Julie Pearson. I'm here to represent NAFAS, the National Association of Flower Aiding Societies. We are a charitable organisation, and basically there's 40 clubs in and around the northwest of England. And so I belong to 3 because I'm quite greedy. I'm a NAFAS demonstrator, a national tutor, and so my designs are a little bit technical because I can. But I'll be doing 3 designs, and the third one is quite traditional and basically for all levels. This one is foolproof. Have we got any novice flower arrangers in front of us? So I can tell you anything. Basically, these are random milk bottles. I'm from Bolton, not that far away, and I still have a milk dairyman. And I know the Critchleys in Chorley, they still deliver milk. But these could be brandy glasses, they could be pop bottles, it could be anything of glass, anything weighty which you can utilise. For Christmas, I love nothing better on our mantelpiece to have lots of nice crystal brandy glasses. It's the only time the wedding presents actually come out, is to have just single flowers on the mantel with candles. And so you can create something quite beautiful without actually too much kind of afterthought. I am very much, someone gave me this, and I think it's amazing. They were going to throw it in the bin. And it's like, no, just because it's broken here and it's coming away there. So I stapled it and put some string on it, and actually you can take this home now. In fact, I'll be glad if you did, because then it's not something else that needs mending in the garage. So there's water in the bottles. I've just created some additional texture. This is the hop vine, the hops that hangs beautifully. You make your beer out of, or you can use it for decoration. So it's actually a really nice string. It's just the crochet technique. Does anybody know the crochet technique? Do you want me to show you? Show you afterwards? So it's a little bit of continuity of a texture, really. So, with this kind of concept, anything goes. It's as if you just go around the garden and you've got some contorted hazel. Sorry. We could actually start with something else, but some contorted hazel, the Coryllis contorta. And basically you can just pop this in, and as long as you're working in kind of groups or some kind of, already that's changed the look, hasn't it really? It kind of looks a little bit more dynamic. I've taken the foliage off, because that would totally obliterate this space, and it's a design which is really for space. So if I then take some grasspedia, which now apparently Sarah Raven has got, you can actually buy the seeds, and I start placing these grasspedia, really random. So this is foolproof flower arranging. This is pure kind of, if I hadn't taken the foliage off, the Chorley Flower Show would be pure vegetative design, because vegetative design is what's happening in nature at any one time. Because I've manipulated that, that's no longer true, but already, can you see it's building, it's creating lots of layers. So then if I take some of the nice folia, which actually, you just didn't see those orange ones, and I pop these in here, again, because we've got a substantial weight in there, just 2 in different directions, as though they were growing in the garden. Actually, I'm going to turn it around even though it looks the same both sides. But it looks quite interesting. Who can tell me what this one is? Oh, there's some brains going there. Sorry? No, it's not solid Lego. John, I really need to know what it is. It begins with L. Is it? Sorry? No. It's the last day of the last hour of the last show, isn't it? I think it's something like Listeria, but it's not Listeria. Sorry? No, it's not solid Lego. It's very similar. Well done. Completely different habit, but yeah, that's good. See, that's what flower arrangers do. We create great atmosphere in the clubs. Anybody's welcome. We let anybody in. And generally speaking, once you've walked through the door twice, you end up on a committee. But don't let that put you off. And so, everything's middled up in here, my apologies. And so, what I have next for you, which is very much a British flower, which is Antrim Island snapdragons. Isn't that the most beautiful fluorescent colour? And so I'm going to have these a little bit shorter, just to create a little bit of interest. So cutting these quite short. And I usually wouldn't be quite so slapdash. But can you see the contrast? The foliage is actually very, very similar. And the colour of the flower is very similar in tone and value, but actually they're very different shapes. So I want to go one in the middle going this way. And so we could stop there really, because there's lots of interest there. We're creating a screen now. You'd only have this on the table if it was somebody opposite you didn't want to eat it with. That could be mother-in-law or brother, whatever. Because generally speaking, for a table design, you either need it higher or lower. So, but it could be quite a nice thing to use as a petition. And so we've got this small, the beautiful little Santini chrysanthemum, which again is just, you can get this at the moment in the most array of beautiful colours. And you can tell that's beautifully fresh. Not only because its aroma, which actually fresh chrysanthemum is quite distinctive, but also it's just it's a beautiful flower, it's in its natural season. So we'll have this just a little bit lower, but isn't that pretty? It's quite delicate, so it's very citrusy, this, isn't it? You're all very quiet. Are you all ready for your afternoon nap? No? I think we need a little pop in this. Do you agree? What colour do we need to pop? How about lilac? These are alliums. But as they're opening, aren't they just fabulous texture? And I don't know why they're just kind of teasing out. But it's a slightly different darker foliage, and I just think that's just incredible. Alliums in the garden are beautiful. The bumblebees, the insects absolutely adore it. But to tell you the truth, it's not something you really want in your house. They're quite smelly. And I think, shall we just go with a little bit of height here? Now if you win this in the raffle, I can guarantee the person who wins it will came on a bike today. But when you decide you don't want the bottles, please do recycle them. That's quite important. I did ask the milkman if I could use his bottles, because I usually give them back. Let's have some a little bit shorter. But these dry beautifully. So when you get fed up them in the house, of the scent, and I must admit, when I have some flowers, I can have 1,000 pounds of flowers in my studio if I'm working. And if it's a birthday or anniversary, my husband will still go to the supermarket and buy me a bunch of roses for less than a £5. So I never actually bring flowers into my house. But I love flowers as they're opening. When they're fully mature, I tend to get bored of them. So I'll just put them in the garden for the bees and so on. Is that a bit of a brat, do you think? So Mark's buying a dozen roses for the price that I've paid for 2 from the wholesalers. And I think just to finish off, just a little bit of the fennel, which is a rather distinctive scent. But again, it just brings your eye down to the centre of the design. Perhaps have a little bit of the blue at the base. So we'll just have a few stems of, and this has only been on the market more recently as a commercial cut flower, and that's the clematis. Isn't that so pretty? They look like little butterflies. And actually that's just linking that, the purple of the alliums together. It's a beautiful contrasting colour. And again, I've taken most of the foliage off because this design is more about texture, form, and so we really don't want masses of foliage. We'll just have this little bit here. Isn't that just beautiful? That would just be really lovely in a sherry glass, wouldn't it? I love your headdress. Did you make that at home? No, maybe here. And just to show you very quickly the crochet technique, you start off and you're just creating the loop and you're going through. It's just a chain. You could use knitted needles if you wish, but it's just it's actually really strong, but it's a wonderful way of just creating, just changing the kind of the concept, makes it quite in keeping. It's quite rustic. Now you tell me, is that the front or is that the front? Are you frowning at me? It's a really tricky question. Which is the best side? That one or that one? The first one, this one. Does everybody agree? Well spotted. You look like a bit of a frog with those yellow shoes on. So again, and this is really strong, but you could do this with wool. You can make amazing forms with this, and so just tie that off. And so that just kind of nestle that through. And it just adds that little bit of brown going through. So that's my milk churn for you, my milk waffles. Mediums and mechanics, and all this is kebab skewers, which I've assembled together using paper covered wire, and I went online to get some random little shapes. In fact, there's a design there in wax that I did. I went online and got some kind of plyboard shapes, which were really inexpensive. I think they were from China. And so with this, that's all I've done. I've just tied them together. I've sprayed it white, and just as an accessory, the last few little blobs that I've had, I've just created just a little bit of fun that I'll add into the design. So this is going to be a hand tie. And so again, I think we need something quite bold. So I have some of the amni, which is, again, it's rather scented, beautiful form. And the beauty of using a frame is the fact that it anchors. Look at the contrast of the green. Isn't that just stunning? And the kind of the luminosity of the green and the yellow. So we're just kind of playing by numbers, filling the voids really. Yes, and the strands of blue that you can see are intentional. And so the longer piece. So out of the shorter sense, again, economy of material, whether you've grown the flowers or you bought the flowers, they have great value. So use the flowers as they're intended. I always say to students, the flowers are talking to you, kind of listen to them and place them so you can see them to their maximum. And just look how that really in your fashion, still got lots of space. So all my stems have been spiral, so they're all going in one direction. And so what I have here is some Xanthodecia, some of the colours, because we want something quite bold, something rather dominant. And actually again, the colour of the stem is really in keeping. So the beauty with Xanthodecia is you can just pop them in different directions. You see how that's a little bit wayward. We want it to be kind of integral to the frame. We want the frame to encase the flowers, so I'll just turn that around a little bit. Because although the frame is decorative, it's also supporting, it's a mechanic. So can you see how... Has anybody got a shop here, a flower shop? Because what we're selling, what kind of work we've got here is space. We're promoting space and volume and voids, and we're just kind of by choice filling those voids. So I could probably stop putting these colours in and probably just use 5, but they come in 10s and there was a few left over. I'll use them. That was a little bit too close to that one. We'll put him somewhere else. When he's awkward, it's a he. Shall I use them all? Now, have you all bought your raffle tickets? Yes, has everybody got enough? Do you want to buy an extra one? So isn't that kind of, how else would you display kind of Xanthodecia other than kind of pinning it or manipulating it? Totally, yeah. And so just to make that really pop, if I add some red to that, doesn't it make the orange really shout? And so I'm just going to pop some of this trailing amaranthus into the design. And again, it just gives it kind of an opulence. The viburnum is, the amaranthus is kind of a velvety texture. So these are all from one bunch, and that was the same price as that one. I think they've been diddled. So we'll have some of the base now. So when you put it in a vase, it just cascades over nicely. So you've got the transition of the bottom of your container to your vase. And then just to finish off, some of the Monstera. Do you know, I don't learn, that actually happened the first demonstration. And so see how by just nestling these, it becomes a beautiful frame. So you've got a kind of a more natural, a little bit lower. So these Monstera used to be really fashionable. The roots on these are really sought after. That's quite dominant, that will have that a little bit higher, I think. So it's more of a transition. Yeah, that's better. We'll tie those off. So is everybody going to go home and do a hand tied out of kebab sticks? Oh, we've just got these little things to pop in. There's a florist friend of ours, and he's a NAFAS demonstrator, and he loves to use Lego. So whatever kind of, he loves to do things quite literally. And so if someone wants Harry Potter for the design, he'll incorporate some Harry Potter Lego. And so I just reminded me because they're actually quite Lego-ish. So, tying this off. So, I apologise, the raffle, the vase is not included in the raffle. But I think once the flowers have died off here, you could utilise this. You could spray it for Christmas or any other time, or kind of silver, gold. It's just a little bit of fun. So there we go, Raffle. You've enjoyed the demonstration. I'm back here at 3 o'clock. And so, have a nice afternoon. Have you got your raffle ticket? No, the gentleman behind you. Well, the thing is, I have no life. There's probably about 5 errors there. And basically what this is, it's a 2-point gauge wire, so quite a substantial wire. And I've placed this end in the drill, tied my thread on, and gone up and down with the wool. And the wool that I've used was like a pound shop, and it was incredible. I am not so sad that I've used different types of wool here. This is one ball of wool that's kind of tonal and in value and so on. But nonetheless, it still takes quite a bit of time. So then I've drilled this wood and just placed those in nice and securely. Because of the wire, you can actually just create the most amazing forms and so on, and just played, and this is what I've done here, which is rather extravagant because I know I need to kind of incorporate that into there. Is that just spoiled it? But it's pointless me going home with one piece, isn't it? I've run out of that wool. And so what I've got here is glass test tubes. So I hope you've got your raffle tickets, because this is worth a bomb. Your raffle tickets are only £1 a strip. Basically, when securing test tubes to a construction, you need 2 points of contact. If you just have one, then it will continue to move. By having 2, you've got that additional security. So by placing this in here, all your mechanics are really secure. So what you'll have, and I can say this because we're at the end of the show now, what you'll have here is a bespoke Julie Pearson RHS gold medalist design here for £1. So I'll let you have that one. So tying your ends off, small detail, and I always use paper covered wire, purely because of the aesthetic, and actually it disappears. So then we need to fill that with water. I'm not going to fill this up completely because obviously someone's taking it home. So the balance is, and I've slightly gone kind of with the curve, and really because this is dictating the shape that we want to create. Other than that, it's literally quite freestyle. And so I've got for you here some rather stunning spider gerbras. Now, do you think these are dyed, or do you think they're all natural colour? Natural colour or dyed? They are. They're all natural colour, yes. They've all been propagated, and yes. The flower industry is worth multi-millions of pounds, and they explore and invest and continually explore and create new varieties. And so how better to display those than this way? They look like anemones from the sea, don't they? They're just so tactile. They're absolutely divine. They don't want to be in deep water, but obviously they do require water, so you do need to keep these test tubes really, really filled up. And I think, oh no, is my battery okay? Just look at that. How can that be kind of natural? Beautiful. So they'll all have in their own right really exotic names. So we're just getting the balance of colour and shades. So the rule of thumb with this kind of design is you don't have anything on the same level or in the same direction. So even though it's looking slightly diva-ish, I'm just checking whether kind of the balance of colour is right. And to make sure I've got everything in test tubes. I think I need to add some more test tubes because actually it's that 3-dimension, isn't it? Doesn't it look fab? But you can actually see it all round. It's predominantly front facing. Let's have some more tubes in here. But you can utilise this over and over again. So I was watching the new drama on TV last night while I was doing these test tubes. No, from water. And then one more. I'll have a little bit of ice. So as long as you rinse, you just need to tip when the gerbils have gone over, when they've dried, you just need to tip out the water, rinse them. Possibly even add a little bleach. I want to use all these gerbils, it's a shame not to use them. If I can't use them, who wants the gerbil? Who wants a gerbil? You fancy an orange one or a pink one? Even though orange would have looked fab up there. I just think something like this is so joyous. And so I don't think, I have got some grasses and I was going to put some jasmine through this, but I really don't feel like needs it. Oh, I've just put your jasmine. Sorry, babe. No, I don't think it needs anything else. I think just the simplicity and the colour is quite, I quite like that actually. Do you like that? There we go, that's the design for you. As a florist and a flower people say, I can't do a hand tied. And it's like, just give me 15 minutes and you will make a hand tied. It's easy. Hand tied in a collection of flowers that are gathered in your hand in a certain way that will just fit into a vase. And so what I've got for you here, I've got a little bit of the Lesby. I've got some Grevillea, which is a rather beautiful foliage. In fact, there's a gentleman that I saw coming through, I parked my car this morning, and within 5 minutes I spent £60 because he had 2 plants of Grevillea type grass, which will look amazing in 2 tubs at home. Some larger of the alliums, which again, when these dry and they go to seed, look incredible. You either leave them for the winter to catch the frost and dry, or use them for decoration. A few just stems of the panicum. Surprise! Some orange knifolia. Very kind of traditional material in the garden at the moment. Some rather stunning, although rather smelly, Achillea. Isn't that an impressive Achillea? And the fact they've got the offshoots. Sorry, but I am going to take those off because I want to create quite a limited design. Those will dry beautifully as well as the alliums. And then just for contrast of direction of materials, I've got just a few pieces of the trailing amaranthus. So you can see the contrast the vibrancy of colour. And then just a few pieces of foliage, some gorgeous hosta, which I have no idea what they're called. David at the back will be able to tell you if you really want to know, because we want some bold shapes here. And then just in contrast, some rather shiny monstera leaves. And so we want to go somewhere quite tall. So we'll start off with our Nifolia. We'll create a nice strong line here. And then we'll have our Achillea. And so all my stems are actually spiraling. We're all going in the same direction. And so if I was to put this stem here across the front, can you see how it's going in the opposite direction to the rest of the stems? But if I put this round the back, it's actually following the line of the stems. So if I place material round the back on the right hand side, but on the left hand side, push it across the front, can you see the stems are all going in the same direction? Whereas if I tried putting that there, you see how it's actually going in the wrong direction. Which you say, well, what's the point? What does it matter? The thing is, when you tie your design, it will break the stem, it will push the stem, so it won't be able to take in water. But a fabulous way of just kind of being able to see the form and the shape of your design. So easy. You could go home and make a hand tie. So this is what we call probably a more textual design. And the concept of a form linear is the fact that if you were to see the silhouette of this design, i.e. a shadow on the wall, you'd be able to see each individual shape and appreciate the form. And so it's called a form linear, form and line. Just a few pieces of the grass. So you only need limited materials. And it's a great way at the end of a demonstration to use up. And the thing is, we're going to put these stems quite short anyway, so you might as well go up and go really tall. Now you tell me, I don't think that really goes, do you? No? It's too fussy, isn't it? But we could possibly take it out this side. What do you think? Yes or no? You're dead, same here. That's the thing with Flower Engine. Unless it's a competition, there are no rules. As long as it's in water, as long as it's taking hydration, as long as it's taking hydration, taking up water, and it's secure, and if the aesthetic appeals to you, then it's right. It's not wrong. Now it's just changed, hasn't it? It's gone from the very stylised modern design to more country kind of garden, British garden. Let's have that one quite low down. And so we'll group these beautiful hostas. So again, we've got, now this is quite heavy, so I'm going to use these heavier Aralias under here, because that will just support them. And that'll be a beautiful contrast to the more delicate hostas. So I'm still spiraling, I'm still sending my stems the way I want them, but isn't that just a beautiful colour? So you're doing this when you go home? Okay. I'll just use these bits up. So everything's still coming from that one point, the one point of origin. Actually, that looks rather nice, isn't it? I like this. One more leaf. So that same concept you could use if it was just limited materials, or you had masses, and then use the paper covered wire just to tie that up. So does anybody want to buy some more tickets? So we'll just tie that, and I'm just going to put another band around there as well. Actually, I've got some. No, yes? No, okay. There's a little bit of orange in the Nifolia. And so, I hope you've had a fabulous show. And please go on the website, have a look at the NAFAS area, Northwest Flower Ranging Societies, and have a visit to one of our clubs. You'll have a lovely evening. Take care. Thank you.